What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review, and this time we're taking a look at Rob Zombie's animated adult superhero horror comedy, The Haunted World of El Superbeasto. Let's waste no time. Let's get right into it. Okay, off the bat, I love The Haunted World of El Superbeasto. I think this is a silly, goofy, stupid, fun animated movie. I don't know what it is about this movie that I like so much. I think it's because this movie just breaks all the rules. It makes zero sense, but it's just a hell of a lot of fun. This to me is where Rob Zombie feels the most comfortable when he has the creative freedom to do whatever he wants. And in animated form, he has the creative freedom to do whatever he wants. His live action movies to me have always been hit and miss, and I think it's because he tries way too hard and he ends up just missing the mark when it comes to his live action movies. But in animated form, Zombie's style and the way he writes seems to fit amazingly well with animated with this and I'm being honest to God. I think his live action writing can be very spotty and very hit and miss with some gems here and there, but in terms of animated form, even though he made one animated movie, his style fits it extraordinarily well. And I wish Rob Zombie would make more animated movies, specifically more sequels to El Superbeasto, because this movie is a hell of a lot of fun. The plot of this movie is just completely bare bones. El Superbeasto has to stop this guy named Dr. Satan from taking over the world with the powers of hell. That's really what the plot of this movie is. It's nothing. It's a stereotypical superhero plot of the hero trying to stop the villain from taking over the world. But it's what happens in this animated movie that is completely ridiculous, and it's the characters that make this movie stand out. But let me get the mechanics out of the way first. In terms of the writing, this movie is co-written by Rob Zombie and Tom Papa, who voices the titular character of El Superbeasto. I think, now, up to this point of 2009, I think this was one of Zombie's better written movies, mainly because he had a co-writer with him. Even though Tom Papa wrote mostly Superbeasto's character and dialogue, you can tell that with this movie, Zombie was going more for like satirical humor, self-referential humor, and was poking fun of himself a little bit. And I appreciate that. Like, I really appreciate that. And this movie, it makes fun of certain things, but it doesn't do it in a way where it's being mean-spirited, at all. It's doing it in a way where it's kind of charming and amusing in a certain way, how it makes fun of itself. And it's like, right, and it's Rob Zombie making fun of himself as well. So I can appreciate that. I like that. I think Tom Papa, in terms of writing the Beasto character, mostly, he's fun. Tom Papa made the character of El Superbeasto a lot of fun. He's not likable in the least. I mean, Superbeasto comes across as a conceited asshole, a self-centered conceited asshole, but he's an entertaining asshole. And he does have some likable aspects to him. And some of the best lines are from Superbeasto, where every time he goes to beat someone up who's doing something stupid, he's like, time for me to punch a fucking fuckface. That shit's hilarious. And the fact that he's a former wrestler turned porn star, just man of everything, man of action, is hysterical. Like, Tom Papa, in terms of his writing and his portrayal of Beasto, is a hell of a lot of fun. A hell of a lot of fun. The whole voice cast seems like it's having a lot of fun. This, to me, is one of Sherry Moon Zombie's best performances as Susie X. Like, her voice fits the animated style perfectly. And I like the character of Susie X. I like how she's over-sexualized, and she's more of a hero than Superbeasto is. She's actually, it's in a way, this is more like Susie X's movie than Beasto's movie, since Susie X is doing all the groundwork, while Beasto is just fucking around doing fuck all. He's just trying to fuck anything that he sees. So I like that. I mean, the whole idea of them being step-siblings is hilarious also. It's just, this movie's so goofy. But it's entertainingly goofy. Like, the voice cast is clearly having a lot of fun. Like, Rosario Dawson playing a caricature of a stripper is hilarious. Paul Giamatti as the villain Dr. Satan. The man's clearly just hamming it up and having the time of his life, just voicing this grandiose character whose motivations are just to become the most powerful being in the world. But he has to marry somebody with the mark of the devil, and he's had 22 failed marriages leading up to this point. And he also had a crush on Susie X and was a nerd in high school. That shit's hilarious. Then you got Brian Paulson as Murray, the robot who has a crush on Susie X, and every time he sees Susie X, he gets his junk all up. It's fucking stupidly hilarious. But you also have other characters that I enjoyed. You got Tom Kenny as Otto the gorilla, who is Dr. Satan's manservant. And the movie has this thing of Velvet Von Block wanting to bang the gorilla. It's completely randomly stupid. You have the zombie Nazis with the lead Nazi voiced by the great Robert Paulson, who from Pinky and the Brain fame. I'm sorry, this movie made zombie Nazis hilarious and likable. And I'm not gonna lie, I like the lead Nazi. I thought he was fucking hysterical, and he has some hilarious lines. You got Danny Trejo, who makes an appearance as one of Superbeasto's friends. It's funny shit. Like, it's really, really... The voice cast is clearly having a lot of fun. A lot of the animation is actually really well done. A lot of the action sequences are just slapstick hilarious. And the music by Hardin Prim, which is Chris Hardwick and his friend, is completely stupidly hysterical. The best one is a Beatles-inspired number called Zombie Nazis. That shit's hilarious. Then you have another one, which is like a polka parody called Catfight, when Susie X and Velvet Von Block are having a catfight at the end of the movie. It's stupidly entertaining. And the theme song itself of El Superbeasto is just so damn catchy, and you just can't help but sing along to it. I mean, El Superbeasto, that shit is so dumb, but it's so fun. It's so much fun. I mean, this movie also has humor that doesn't really land for me. Like, there's this gag of Superbeasto having a fear of his uncle in a thong. It's not funny, and especially when the rats come out of his ass, that's just gross and not funny at all. And there are also some characters that I think are underutilized a little bit, mainly their voice actors. Like Ken Foray has a role in this movie as a cat named Luke St. Luke, and he barely has any lines of dialogue. His character mostly spends his time in the acting as a big bulge for El Superbeasto. All right, that's not that funny. Didn't really laugh all the time. Not everything that comes out of Velvet Von Black's mouth is hysterical. It can fall flat in a lot of areas. Though Rosario Dawson does have a lot of moments of shine where she does come across as legit funny, and the same thing goes for Susie X. Like, the running gag of Murray the Robot having a crush on her and constantly getting erections. I mean, that joke kind of ran its course after the third or fourth time, to the point where it's like, okay, this gag is, it's getting kind of redundant. Like, a lot of the humor can get very redundant in this movie, to the point where Rob Zombie kind of overindulges it a little bit, where you should dial it down some more. And then we do get some cameos, some zombie regulars like Captain Spaulding, Baby, and Otis make appearances, and you actually have Sid Haig and Bill Moseley voicing the characters, that was a lot of fun. At the beginning of the movie, we get a cameo by Rob Zombie's version of Michael Myers getting hit by a car. That was stupidly entertaining. And a lot of the monsters are heavily inspired by, the old Universal monsters. We get monsters inspired by the Cthulhu, played by Clint Howard, who was a bartender. We get a cameo by Jack Torrance from The Shining. Like, a lot of the in-jokes and a lot of the homages to horror characters are in this movie. And it's nice. It's a nice tribute. It's a nice, loving tribute to Rob Zombie, who is clearly a fan of the horror genre. And this movie is pretty much him having fun. And it clearly shows. Like, it's not a perfect movie at all, but it is extraordinarily entertaining and is very creative in a lot of ways. Like, a lot of the original monsters do have a creativeness to it. And they do look pretty cool. And I actually do like when Dr. Satan turns into this 100 feet tall Dr. Satan, and he's doing like a parody of Godzilla destroying cities, eating babies, killing Santa Claus, and just running amok. I mean, that shit was goofily entertaining. Yeah, that's pretty much really all I got to say about the Haunted World of El Superbeasto. It's a stupid, fun, yet very entertaining, animated adult superhero horror comedy, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I say give it a watch. So, end of the day, I'm going to give this movie a solid 8 out of 10. It's one of those Rob Zombie movies that I really, really like. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Haunted World of El Superbeasto. Let me know your thoughts in the comments sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.